Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for being here this morning. Thank you for being here this morning.
Let's go. Oh, let's start this show. King Roman News gonna come right through. Gonna give you that news just like you know it can do. Hot topics in your face, baby. King Roman knows his place, baby. King Roman
News. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
6:30 a.m. Eastern time, baby. He's gonna come right on time with the news just for you. Celebrity news, politics, and local news just for you. King Roman News. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday, Wednesday, Let's go. Hey, let's start this show. King Roman News, coming just for you. King Roman News, coming just for you. 6:30 a.m. Eastern time, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. King Roman News, King Roman News.
Let's start this show. Good morning. Good morning, crew. Good morning to you all. And yes, the last time I saw you, the last time we all had a conversation, we were talking about getting Kamala Harris into the White Office. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. Congratulations to the Republicans and their party. Donald Trump did win. Am I happy about it? Of course I wasn't happy about it. Am I a sore loser? Not at all. And that's why I wanted to come live today. Because the same thing I do at my job when we lose a client, when we lose a grant, when we lose a partnership, we have a debrief. What the fuck did we do wrong? Where the fuck did we go wrong? And that's where I am today. I'm not in a place of, oh, these people, they did that. No. We got to look and see what we did wrong. And as I did some research and some deep diving yesterday, some stuff I didn't even know. Like, did y'all know that the Democrats and Kamala Harris had a big beef going on? See, we didn't know this shit. We didn't know none of this shit. None of them wanted Waltz to be the VP elect. Now, I'm not saying this may have helped or hurt, but this is how little stuff like this is what caused a lot of internal fighting with the campaign. And we're going to talk about it today. So I wanted to do that. And I wanted to encourage you all to be steadfast, be resilient. Shit like this happens. Hopefully we're around within these 4 years and after to see who's coming next. So be okay. My good sis, K Fit, and happy birthday to K Fit. Happy birthday to you. Okay. Happy birthday to you. I know that was horrible. But happy birthday, K-Fit. She came through yesterday to offer some words of encouragement. And I want to say the same thing. And I also want to say, let's look at the facts. 72 million Americans, 72 million said yes to Donald Trump. Despite all that other bullshit that he done said, he done did, they said, hell yeah, fuck what y'all got. I don't give a fuck about none of that stuff. And that's what we missed. We kept thinking it was abortion, transgender. Most of the folks that he pulled together, his coalitions, they didn't give a fuck about none of that stuff. And y'all heard me, oh, y'all care about this, y'all vote. That's not why most of them voted for Donald Trump. Let's be very clear, okay? So we're going to talk about that today. I want to make you laugh a little bit. I want to make some of y'all laugh. So I found this to be fucking hilarious. So, you know, a lot of us hate. First of all, I was on Twitter. People were talking about they're quitting their jobs and they're moving to Canada. Like y'all going too far. What do you think is going to happen? You think somebody's going to come in your house and shoot you? No, it's not. It's not the end of the world. It means that we need to put on our boots and get ready to hit the ground running over these next 4 years. You do know in 2 years, we do have a midterm elections. So that's what we need to be preparing ourselves for. So I thought that was just like, you might be stepping. And I also will say this. I think I definitely lost interest in a lot of people, both offline and online. I saw a lot of people that I didn't even know that they were even engaged in politics, nor did they care. But I saw a lot of their behavior, their posts and stuff. And I'm just like, wow. Nothing else you care about in the world. But when you care about this, that's the angle you take. Listen, whatever. You know, we're supposed to allow people to vote for whoever they want to, choose whoever they want. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. But for it to come out of the air and no explanation, I found that to be a little bit. So I want to share this little video with you guys. It's funny. I want to lift your spirits before we go into this deep dive here. And y'all hit the like button. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. But I thought this shit was fucking hilarious. This dude was so mad at all of the states that voted for Donald Trump. He went to his Facebook page. Y'all check this shit out.
Rip the state and sling that rip. Florida, next hurricane, I hope it rip the state and sling that to the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And to Louisiana, I'm so disappointed in you gumbo eating bitches. I fuck with y'all, and to my friend that think I'm going to New Orleans with her for her birthday, cancel. I will take them beads and wrap it around the whole state and sling y'all motherfuckers to the Pacific Ocean with Florida. And to Texas, big hat wearing, taco eating bitches. That storm should have flooded y'all bitches. That alligator should have bit y'all motherfucking ankles and fingers off. Vote with your nose, bitch.
Ciao.
And North Dakota and South Dakota. Y'all motherfuckers like twins, so one do, the other gonna do. But I'll put you bitches apart like some cinnamon rolls and chew y'all bitches up, spit y'all out, and feed y'all to our dogs since y'all think we eating them. Oh, he not done, y'all. Let's go. And to Arkansas, honestly, I should have known what y'all was gonna do. That little ass state, y'all bitches got one mall, so I know y'all got one brain thinking for all y'all. That's why y'all don't get visitors now. Come rip that golf course out the ground, bitch. Golf in the dirt. And to Tennessee, you redneck motherfuckers. The only 10 you will see is both of these motherfucking hands and these 10 fingers, you big G wearing bitches. And to Ohio,
why is he like this?
Y'all bitches just booked me for December. Oh, might as well cancel that like Kamala. Y'all motherfuckers 2 states away from me. I will hop across West Virginia and bring them young vote again. Big. And to Mississippi, you country redneck big boot wearing bitches. I hope a stampede of cows and horses run through all y'all motherfucking houses. Oh my God.
I'm done. When I saw that, y'all, I cackled. I said, damn, y'all motherfuckers are mad. And I was mad too. I'm not gonna hold you. I was mad too. We got a friend that's Republican, and of course he gloated. And it's okay. You know, I want to say this too. I love everybody. I love the whole crew, right? Some of y'all are Republicans. Some of y'all did drop down in the comments and say, hey, I'm a Republican, but I understand your issues. I totally agree, and thank you for that. I love everyone, you know, that fuck with me. I fuck with you. So despite who you vote for, please don't get it misconstrued that I hate you. I don't hate anybody. I don't have that in my heart. You know, there's things that I hate, but I don't hate people. I don't hate you. So I want to let you know, crew, if you voted for Trump or you're a Republican, this is not a hate space. I'm not hating you. I'm not looking at you, pointing like, oh, you. Not doing that. We're not going to do that. We now know that he's the president-elect. Let's move forward. So 70. So let's get into it. I got a good 10 minutes into the show. We're gonna get into it. Hey, Miss Toby. Good morning, Miss Toby. Hey, Gigi, Memphis T. Thank y'all for being here. Hey, Miss LA. Good morning to you. And I saw your messages. I hope you have a really good morning today. I'll be in and out. Don't know what's going on, but I do hope you have a good day. I saw everybody saying have a good day. I hope everything is all right with you, baby. Blackberry Molasses, working but listening and supporting. Good morning. Sparkle Libra, thanks for coming through. Cruza, good morning. A pleasant surprise. Cruz, I hope you did get a chance to listen to MO podcast, and I hope you enjoy her because I really enjoy her. That was the first video I heard yesterday after hearing the elections, and she sort of brought me back full circle. Like, what's wrong? You act like we can't do this. And I'm like, you're right. Buddha Bell, hey, boo. The morning after. You know I needed a day off. Yesterday, I just wanted to absorb everybody, see everything, learn what I could learn, be in my feelings, be in my emotions. I felt some kind of way, but it wasn't like I felt like I'm defeated. It was like, God damn. And I really was like, America is sending us a message. This is a message like they did in 20. This is a message. So that's how I'm receiving this. I'm receiving this as we have a message, and I took the message and I want to share with y'all. Ox, hey, baby. Hey, y'all. Good morning. What up, Cap? Good morning, Cap. Thanks for coming through. It's good to see you. What's up, Open United News? You tagged me in some videos, and I came over and watched it, and I started laughing. I'm like, you are hilarious. Bud B, thank you, living my best life. Thank you for coming through. Cosmic Girl, don't you? I don't know if it's MVMO's voice. I don't know what it is, but she had me hooked since Wendy Williams days, when she used to come and give us the tea on Wendy Williams. Until now, I'm hooked. Whatever she put out, I'm watching. I'm like, oh, what? I didn't even know that. I love her to left. Voodoo, hey, boo. Precious Pisces, good morning to you. Hey, Tanya, good morning. I'm still under the weather. The sinus infection is hitting. Oh, yeah, me and you both. Y'all can hear it. You can hear it. Living my best. All right. So let's talk, crew. Let's talk. Okay. So 72 million Americans made it fucking clear this election cycle that they did not want Kamala Harris. They did not want what she was feeding. They were not open to it. This is the election results map. Now, when we were talking about this before, the biggest thing was let's get that fucking blue wall. Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota. Let's get that Pennsylvania, Maryland, DC, Virginia, North Carolina. Let's get this blue wall going. And as you can see, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina said, no. Not only did they say no, it was the individuals within that said no, y'all. Now, the white man we knew, and the white women for the most part we knew, right? I'm not shocked about that. A lot of people say, Kamala's a woman. Why not? I said, but you got to see, before woman, it's the white. She's a white. These are white women. So I didn't put anything past them, and I'm not trying to be funny. But where you start seeing a very stark difference is black men. 20% sent us a message. Latino men, 54% sent us a message. Latino women, 37% sent us a message. They sent us a message. And it was very loud and fucking clear. And their message was that we don't give a fuck about abortion. We don't give a fuck about transgender issues. We don't give a fuck about none of that shit. What we care about is the economy. What we care about is immigration. That's what they told us. And you look at those populations like, Latino, y'all care about immigration? Okay. And you think he's the better choice? Now, again, I'm not here to, you did wrong. I'm here to put it on the table. So this is where we are, and these are the issues. And so what's very, very starking is that men made it very fucking clear this election cycle. Now, we're going to take black men, Latino men out of it. And for the most part, we're going to talk about white men. white men made it very clear this election cycle, not only what they were voting for, but also what they were voting against. And I don't think, I've said it before. I've heard other content creators say it before. I've heard news journalists say it before. I've heard a lot of people say it before. But you need to hear this from an actual white man. Okay? And I'm doing this for the fucking crew, because many of y'all may not have heard this before from out of a white man's mouth about why they vote the way they vote. I want you to hear this. You heard it from King Roman News. I want you to hear this shit. And if anybody wants to see the clip or want to share the clip with their friends, please hit me back channel, because I want people to understand the gravity of
Is you voted for Donald Trump?
So here you have an Asian American and you have a white man. And the Asian American is asking him about his vote. Now, I've been sitting here, up here, ever since I've been doing Hot Topic and local news, and we talk about this stuff, I always say, motherfuckers are scared that their race is going to be eliminated. But this man put it perfectly clear. And he says he's not a racist at all. He's just speaking from his heart, from what he knows. So what you got to say? I gotta stop. Did y'all hear that? Did you hear it? Let me take it back one more. Yeah, I wanted to share that because I wanted to provide some context. Okay, so when you see the numbers, when you see white men voting for Donald Trump, take out all the shit Kamala said. If it don't fit into that, if it don't fit that narrative, none of that shit matters. It doesn't matter. And we have to, as a Democratic Party, as a multi-ethnic party, whites, blacks, Latinos, everyone, we have to figure out how to have those kinds of conversations. See, that's what Trump is able to do. Without having a conversation, he can reach those people. I know what you're scared of. I got you. Immigration, ain't it? And I kept out here preaching immigration. Why you care about the war? It's not even about that. And I think once Democrats absorb this kind of information and be able to talk to this, we'll then be able to talk about it. White man to black man, white man to Latino man. But this kind of stuff is being swept under the rug. And I'm so glad that an Asian American had the opportunity to ask this man this question. And then him saying, he's really not a racist. However, this is how I feel. No one wants their people to go away. No shit. So I wanted to say that. And then when you trickle it down, who do you think he's talking about? He's talking about one class of individuals, and that's the working class. The working class. And it's a shame during this election cycle, the Democrats lost the most when it came to the working class. The white working class male vote dominated. The Latino male vote working class dominated. The black working class, that 22% black males working class. Then it also includes their uneducated population. So you got the uneducated white women. You have the uneducated Latino women and men. So all of that factor in. So you have all these people coming to the table with their different issues. We're talking immigration. We're talking abortion. And I'm speaking about the Democratic Party. We're talking about how immigration, how we're going to make it a fair and open process, but we're not speaking to the individuals on why. We're talking about a fair, open process. We can keep talking about a fair, open process and putting up as many walls as we want to. If we're not talking about the dissolving of people and how they feel, I don't think we're going to ever penetrate what that white male vote. And we have to. As much as it pains us that want to have to succumb and have that conversation, we got to have that conversation. Why do you feel that way? What do you think is preventing you? Donald Trump is surely soaking in immigration, illegal immigration. So we take all the illegal immigrants out. Does that make it a better place for white working class men? And I'm honestly asking that question. And so That's where we are. Whites, you know, a lot. As I was watching a lot of news, people were trying to skip really hard around it being a racist thing. And although, yeah, racism played in this election cycle, I think what dominated more was sexism, male versus female, on all fronts. And it was clear in the votes. It was clear in who came out. And I kept trying to talk to black men, and I kept saying, like, what do you see? What do you see? But again, I'm talking about the economy in a way that they're not talking about it. I'm talking about, you think those jobs are going to go. They're talking about it's going to be a better economy for them in general. I'm watching these news stations. I'm like, well, how is that possible? We're not going to have to pay as much taxes. Who says that? If we get tariffs on all of these different countries and stuff like that, you do know that causes inflation. Prices, it's all up. It's cost effect. If you have a cost on something and you add a tariff to it, the business owner, the producer, the manufacturer is going to shift that cost to who? The consumer. The consumer. And that's where we're fucking at. So, and a lot of them don't understand the mechanics behind that. Price control, supply and demand, how that fucking goes, how that affects us. But he's not talking to them about that. He's talking to them, oh, I'm going to get your jobs back. And we're not talking to that either. So we have the immigration, economy, and abortion, and they affect all these people differently. A Latino woman, abortion affects her much differently. That was a very shocking thing to me. Oh, I don't care about that. Why? And I had to think about it. They're not concerned with abortions as much as maybe a white educated woman or a black educated woman. They're not. Although you would think a woman would stand up and support, but many of them, that's not their biggest plight, nor is it their biggest issue. And being real about that, you probably got very vocal individuals, the J-Lo's, you know, your community, very vocal individuals, but they're not the majority in those rural communities. That's not what they're caring about. That's not what they care about. But it sound good. It sound good pushing it. But those are not, because they already know in their mind abortion is illegal. Okay. And I believe someone came on the channel and was talking about a story. If you're going to get an abortion, you got to go somewhere else to do it because you know it's illegal. So in their mindset, that box was already checked. And for a lot of people, it was already checked. It's not even an issue. We're not even talking about that. We know it's not. So moving right on. So all of those things, I was very shocked. Men made it clear. The independent who caucuses with Democrats said it should come as no great surprise that a Democratic Party, which has abandoned working class people, will find that the working class has abandoned them. And that's exactly where we are. Although we think, you know, we're all working class and we're in the majority, we have to take a deeper look around. The working class has been, the demographic has changed. It has changed. It has changed. They're far, and I'm going to say this very lightly, but they're far uneducated. And I'm not saying everyone in the working class, but they're far uneducated and they feel boxed out, like they don't have a chance. You have the working class who have the great job, have the home, who can afford it. Yeah, they hear your message. But that other side of the working class, we weren't touching them, nor was we penetrating them. We weren't speaking their language. And we got to do better at that. I'm just being honest, because I'm gonna tell you now, shit, I didn't even fucking know. I just lumped them all into low class, you know, in poverty. I put them all in one boat, but that's not it, guys. We failed ourselves trying to think too big. And thank you, Miss Cheesy Mac. Miss Cheesy Mac, thank you for becoming a member. Oh, that green look good. I finally got my members back. And so, we're going to get to Bernie Sanders. And y'all want to know why y'all ain't seen Stacey Abrams as much? Remember I told y'all they were fighting in-house? Bitch, I didn't know we were fighting like this. It was so fucking bad. But we're going to get to it. See, and a lot of people say that. like when I was doing the show Monday and I said that, you know, Elon Musk had the canvassers in that community, and I think it was someone in the chat and they were like, yeah, Kamala does the same shit. And I probably skipped over it, but I'm not skipping over it today. I'm going to call all that shit out. Yeah, because I think it's good for us to call ourselves out before I let a damn other bitch spit in my face and call me out. So I'm going to talk about us first, then we can drag the rest of these bitches, okay? So that's what we're going to do. But I want to make it clear. Men made it clear this election cycle. It wasn't talking about the Latinos were going to be the vote of choice for Democrats. And that's where we made our mistake. Jumping so fucking ahead saying Latinos were going to be the determining factor because Donald Trump made a comment. No, we missed it. So following that up, first it was the white working class, and now it's the Latino and black workers as well. While the Democratic leadership defends the status quo, the American people are angry and want change, and they're right. They're right. You know how Kamala kept coming out here? Oh, we're going to continue Bernie's policies. We're going to continue that. Meanwhile, we got this working class, y'all. And I'm gonna tell you, this is what they're now calling. Where's the word at? Where the word at? I'm trying to put y'all on. I've been hearing this on the news cycle. This is what they're now calling this new, the white Latino and black male working class. It's now the multi-ethnic coalition of the working class. And that's who Donald Trump focused his whole fucking campaign on. Now, when you think about working class, right? They don't give no fuck about the social issues. They don't give no fuck about all that shit going on in Palestine and all that shit. They don't get the gay shit. They don't, what? They care about immigration and the economy. We're talking about the men, rural men, countrymen. So when they heard Kamala talking, they just heard her talking. But when they heard Donald Trump talking, it became, oh, he's talking to me. It resonated with them. And when you look at this map and the places he won, most of those cities like Virginia, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina, the major cities, Kamala got. She got the major cities. But all them rural towns around it where you got them working class men, that's where his boots were on the ground. See, and Kamala was doing that too. But she was trying to attract the working class that's the status quo, the me, the yous. She didn't want to go, and I'm not saying allegedly, but there was no message being sent to them saying, yeah, we're going to help those at the status quo stay there. No tax, we're not going to tax them. But you too, we're going to bring y'all up. They didn't hear that. So they immediately went to, oh, she hate black men. How easy was that to spin in a news cycle? Because what happened in her history of being a litigator? And it spent. And then the one thing with men, and they say it in the beef sector all the time about the gay men, they got the gay men code. They link up, bitch. They lock. That's very much true about men in general. There is a bro code. There is a man code. I was walking my dog yesterday down fucking town in front of Lexington Market. Anybody know about that? It get real rowdy. And these dudes, black dudes, obviously, whatever. I'm walking and I'm just casually listening. And the dude, he barely could talk right, pronounce it right. He's like, I just can't see no woman lead in me. And I just laughed at myself and said, it's just so funny how this is where we are. That's what resonated. So you got that kind of ideology on top of Kamala talking about all of these social things, and Donald Trump is speaking to them. He pulled this shit before with Hillary Clinton. He pulled this same shit with Hillary Clinton. We all were like, wait, what? The only difference is she won a popular vote. Kamala did it. They sent a very strong message this election cycle. And I'm going to tell you, it was not the Latino vote deciding this election. It was the male vote. It was the male fucking vote. And it's going to be a very uphill battle for Dems to try to pull that back together. They're going to have to try really fucking hard. People are angry. So what I tell you, Trump's victory. Donald Trump's theory of the case was broadly correct. Now listen to this, y'all. You got to listen. I'm going to read it, but you listen to this, okay? He and his campaign managers believed that it was possible to build on Republicans' growing strength among white working class voters to create a multi-ethnic working class coalition. Did you hear what I just said? See, they hide it in the text. I'm going to read it to you again and tell you exactly what this means. Believed that it was possible to build on Republicans' growing strength among white working class voters to create a multi-ethnic working class coalition. Donald Trump's campaign said, we're going to focus on the white working class man and what they think. We're going to build on that and blow its smoke up the Latinos and the black male voters, and they're going to buy a bro code. So the white working class man says immigration is his biggest hardship. Let's facade it over here. They got the black jobs. They got y'all black jobs. How that sound? See, that resonated. It didn't resonate with us because remember, we're the working class over here. It ain't resonate with us. I'm like, bitch, a black job. Y'all remember, you got me motherfucking mistake. A black job, bitch, what? But you know who it did resonate with? And they were surely saying, yeah, no, Trump, they do got my black jobs. You're right, Trump. Yeah, no, they may not say it because they ain't in the paint, but we are. And that's where we fucking went wrong. We started making jokes of his jokes, not realizing his jokes was being taken. They were accepting that shit. And we over here like, y'all gonna let him call y'all black jobs? When they were looking at us like, well, that's what they is. That's where we made that motherfucking mistake. And Trump ate up on that and built him a strong coalition of men in front of our eyes. Now we took the bait, we eating it other ways. He said this about y'all, a pile of garbage over here, throwing towels at y'all, and they're like, oh, you heard the Mexican woman on the live I did Monday where she was like, send me, yeah, I got cousins over here, send their ass back. That's who he was talking to. That's who he was talking to. Here I am playing a video saying, she's stupid, I would never do that. What I should have done was, but ma'am, can we talk about it? Can we have the conversation? And that's where we are at now. We're on the rebound. We have to listen now. We don't have the luxury to let them go by now. We have to sit down at the table and say, okay, sir, listen. What's your issue? And I'm not trying to be funny with it, but I am. So let's finish reading this. So he was right. Now, this came from the Brookings Institute. He was right. If the exit polls turn out to be accurate, he made strides among Latinos and African Americans, especially men. He increased his share of the black male vote from 12% to 20% and carried Hispanic men by 9 points, 54% to 45%. It was the male vote this year, this election cycle. Absolutely. And we got to talk about that. Yeah. Because we missed a whole sleuth of men. A whole sloth of them. Here she's talking to all of these things, thinking that it'll penetrate the woman, that will penetrate the man, not understanding there's certain parts of America that don't operate like that. I mean, it just don't work like that. Here I'm looking down YouTube just in the beef sector, and I'm looking at community walls and listening to people's lives, and I was just very shocked by like, wow, so I didn't know. I didn't know, really? Not, I don't hate you for it, but it was eye-opening, and that's the same shit going on in America. It's eye-opening, just like when he did with Hillary Clinton. So let's get into some things. Now, before we talk about, because we're going to talk about Kamala's campaign, we're going to talk about the failures. We're going to talk about how y'all didn't even know this shit. Did y'all know that Joe Biden couldn't even muster up young volunteers to help him with his campaign when it first started out? Nobody. This is the sick shit. See, and I'm gonna say this. Do I feel like they set Kamala up for failure? Hell the fuck yeah I did, dude. DNC, yeah, I fucking think y'all did. After looking at what I looked at and found what I found, what we finna talk about, y'all knew Biden's whole fucking series wasn't set up for her to inherit it. How about when she inherited Biden's campaign team, they didn't even want to listen to her. Bitch, they told her, no, we doing this over here, we going over here, we doing that over here. They didn't want to listen to her. It was a shit show from the beginning. From the very beginning. Nobody wanted Biden to run for president. They didn't want to tell the man. So they let him do it and fuck up. It was so bad that the people working, the Democrat, some of the polling individuals, not polling individuals, some of the people who worked on his campaigners, some of the campaigners, the staff, the volunteer folks, he didn't have enough signed up for even on that level. So those few weeks he was campaigning, they had so much internal strife. So when it came to who's going to run next, what they should have done was have a motherfucking primary so we could have decided, and those men could have looked at the candidates and we could have said, Kamala's a better candidate versus this, and this. It's only right. But we're here and we got to talk about failures. We have to talk about the failures, y'all. We got to talk about it. Before I talk about that, I want to go through this. Arizona, 51%. Florida, 56%. Georgia, 50%. Might as well say 51. Michigan, 51. North Carolina, 51. Nevada, 51. Pennsylvania, 50. Wisconsin, 49. All of that 0.0, 0.1 put them past the half mark, baby. Men. That was the men. Now, women and brothers and sisters and uncles and whoever to these men and women that voted for Trump, now is not the time to bash them. Now is not the time to start bashing. Now is the time to start asking questions and listening. Like, so what I miss? What the fuck going on around here? It's absolutely a time for the Democratic Party to sit back and rebound and say, what did we do? And it's okay. It's okay to do that. We need to. Because I do feel like I feel bamboozled. You know, there were certain content creators, I'm not going to say his name, fuck nigga, but there were certain content creators I will listen to just to hear their political commentary. And, you know, they're men. And, of course, they're leaning Donald Trump. But I will listen to them because I want to hear why they chose that, what was the reason. And I will always be like, ugh, that don't make no sense. That was my problem. And me doing that was the same thing that I'm sure half of the other side of America was doing. But that doesn't make no fucking sense. You care about that? Why? It was telling. It was telling. So we're here. Now let's get into the failures of Kamala Harris's presidential campaign. And before I do that, I want to just say thank y'all for being here. It's crazy. I appreciate it. I know I'm a day late, but I still wanted to get my shit off. I really appreciate y'all for sitting. If you at home eating your breakfast, if you in the office, if you working, got me in the background, I'm talking to you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Let me talk my shit. I appreciate it. And make sure you hit that like button. Genesis, thank you for becoming a new member. Ox, hey boo, Cosmic Girl, and Miss Toby. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate the love. And y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all hit that like button. I get that we want change, but man, that guy is terrible. He's a terrible person. I'm not sure if you spoke on this. What impact do you think this will have on trans care? Oh, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. And I love the fact y'all engage because it shows me that y'all care. I like being around like people like this. So let's talk. Let's just jump right into it. So Kamala Harris's campaign, before leading to the election, we all were like, this is an historic campaign. Oh my God, no one would ever be able to pull what she pulled off in 170 days. My fucking God. That shit was amazing. And we should have known. We should have known that, yeah, It is amazing, almost too amazing. And what happened was she ended up inheriting all of Biden's campaigners and his team via the DNC, because most of those people are working for the national convention, and so they just pass people along. So she ended up inheriting his folks who were disgruntled. They were angry. They didn't want Biden. They didn't want Kamala either. Once Biden was not going to be the president-elect, they wanted a Democratic primary. These are people working. So imagine, no primary. We're not going to give you that. We're going to put Kamala. We all agree she's the best candidate. So now you got these campaigners having to go out on behalf of Kamala. Now, most of the time, you have campaigners who are elated. I love Kamala. They had to grow with her. They had to learn her policies. So all the time we saw her not on air talking to us, bitch, she was back there talking to her team. Okay? Catching them up. Mind you, Biden, for all intents and purposes, had 3 years to campaign for this new election. She only had that limited amount of time. And Hakeem Jeffries, Nancy Pelosi, Obama, they back there telling Biden, shut that shit down. Shut the fuck up. So much that Biden and Obama don't even like each other. Now, I ain't gonna say they don't like each other, but they have a little quarrel. It's a little quarrel, allegedly. They got a little thing. It's a little thing. Because Biden feels like Obama don't want me. The DNC didn't want me when I was trying to do it with Trump the first time back with Hillary Clinton. Y'all didn't want me. Now I did it and I won. Now y'all don't want. Now Trump coming back. Y'all don't want me again. Y'all think it got to be somebody else. That's how he feel. I said, Biden, man, you can't even stand up. So let's talk about it. They've dubbed Kamala's presidential campaign as the most unorganized campaign folks have saw in a long time. Now, I wasn't on the inside of that, so I couldn't have. I thought it was a great campaign. I'm like, she did that. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. No, it was all blowing smoke up our asses. So let's talk about it. Among those close to the president, there are two opposing views. According to people involved in the conversation, Biden should have remained the candidate because he had stronger coalitions in the blue wall state, or that Democrats' steep losses in the executive and the legislative branch are due to his deep unpopularity. Now, she also had to deal with that. Being handed this, knowing that his approval rating is extremely low. The staff don't like him. The staff don't even want to, transition a campaign for her. And then you got some in the DNC coalition saying, I want a primary. And I remember that too, because it was I think it was about a good 4 or 5 days. They were like, we want a primary, no, it's Kamala. We want a primary, no, it's Kamala. And I was back here like, well, shit, let Kamala do it. Not knowing what I didn't know. They weren't prepared to just give it to Kamala. They weren't prepared to do that in such a short notice, but they did it anyways. These are failures. These are mistakes we got to learn. We got to learn from them. And it was so funny. Republicans kept saying, y'all need to do a primary. That's illegal. That's illegal. That's illegal. It's illegal. So God inherited this team. There's another school of thought, which that Biden himself has voiced. Now here come a little tea. That the blame lies with former President Barack Obama and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi for tossing Biden to the side on 2 separate occasions. Twice, our party leaders in 2016 and 2024 pushed aside Biden for someone who would generate more enthusiasm, and twice we lost. Biden remains the only candidate who has beaten Trump, and he was tossed over once again, one longtime Biden aide told CNN. So they got so much strife between each other. We think they're all collective. No. And do I think Biden would have won against Trump this go around? I absolutely don't. That performance I saw was very telling. Very telling. Do I think he would have been able to penetrate the blue wall and speak to those male voters? No. They were already upset about the 4 years they got. So can you imagine? But I do think Kamala should have been placed with other candidates in a primary for us to choose. Another thing is some of those who had been in Wilmington for a year before Harris became the candidate bucked at their new bosses. Y'all heard that? Y'all heard that? So the people that been working for Biden on his campaign for about a year, when it was time to give it to Kamala, they was like, who what you tell him to do what? Because you got to remember, if I'm working on Obama's election campaign, right, I'm for Obama, bitch. Wait, Obama all day long. The minute you say, oh, he can't do it, and you slide somebody in, I'm supposed to take that same enthusiasm and spirit and go for it. A lot of them were, no, baby, I don't know what you're playing. So how you feel on this? Ain't it, child? Ain't this hilarious? Ain't it? And thank y'all for being here, too. I appreciate it. Yo, so alumni of Barack Obama, most prominently his 2008 campaign manager, David Plouffe, but also many others who moved into state operations, they tried to flex a sometimes dated but often more incisive sense of how to win voters. Now you see what's going on? You got people that came in from Biden's team to go to Kamala's team. Then you got Obama's people from his team came in. And you know who was going to trump all of them? The people from Obama's team. And what did David say? He came in like, look, this is how you going to win this state. You need to do this. You need to do that. And motherfuckers from Biden's team like, wait, hold up now. Hey, hold up. Do what? We going to do this. And what ended up happening? Bitch, they was doing everything, all places, all at once, all at time. No coordination, just, bitch, we here. Sometimes 2 operations in the same fucking city. Didn't even know. Just moving. So again, I was dragging Elon Musk and Donald Trump for the canvas stuff, which I still will drag the fuck out of them for it. But don't y'all think we need to be dragged too? Come on now. This is a debriefing session. America responded, bitch. We got to talk about it. They weren't ready. They weren't ready. And I was up all night reading this stuff, and you know, the more you search it, the more you start reading, more stuff start coming. You like, damn, I gotta stop somewhere. I had to stop because I was going down a rabbit hole. Like, damn, so much that they didn't even want Waltz as the VP pick. But you know why? Well, I can't wait. We getting there? We're gonna be there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 more slides. We're gonna be there. But I'm gonna give you a little. You want to know why Kamala chose Waltz? One reason and one reason only. And Kamala, I'm cool with you, baby, but we gotta talk about the tea. Kamala, out of everybody they put forth, mind you, Barack put somebody forward, Pelosi, everybody, because they ain't want Waltz. She wanted Waltz because he was the only candidate that would not outshine her. Would not outshine her. He was the only one in the interview that told her, if I get into a debate with Vance, it's going to be bad, but I'll try. She liked that and decided at that meeting that she was going to move forward with him as the candidate. And we're going to talk about it. So along the way, multiple aides told CNN how much they were grinding on one another. But the mission to beat Trump and the short timeline to try to get there helped paper over a lot of the infighting that might have exploded in a longer campaign. It instead just raged behind the scenes as aides like Stephanie Cutter moved to exert dominance over defining how and what Harris said, what she said. Baby, they wanted Shapiro. Look at y'all. They wanted Shapiro. Y'all already know. Y'all know. Baby, just fighting going on everywhere around the way. Just, we ain't know a motherfucking thing. We ain't know nothing. But a lot of this adds to the reason, a lot of this can contribute to the fact that they missed that whole swath of people. If we're too busy infighting and trying to figure out who we're going to go to, we're missing them. And we're only feeding on Trump's sound bites. He said that. All right, now let's pounce on it. And then we're going to go talk to those people. He said something about Latino. All right, I'm about to go walk to a Latino diner and we're going to get a clip of me asking him, how do you feel? That worked for the media, but it was doing nothing to get that vote. It was not moving the needle on the folks who were really listening and paying attention. That's what I want to say. We ain't going to be fooled. And I don't even want us to be out here acting like, oh, everything was great on our side. No, you need to know some stuff. It wasn't all that great. Granted, I still don't feel like Donald Trump should be our next president. However, it is what it is. Let's talk about it. All right, so was that it? Yeah, that was it. So let's talk about let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. So when Biden said, when they forced Biden to, because that was a forced thing, to no longer run in the election, it was a period of time where they were like, what are we going to do? And so Kamala just became the candidate. And a lot of grief right then and there. When that happened, it caused a lot of division with the Democrats, especially the Democrats who had positions of power. We didn't see it because they're going to put up a united front. But at that time, it caused a lot of turmoil. And you'll notice that as the campaign grew on, you notice which people weren't around, like the Bernies and the Stacys. See, I ain't know none of this shit until I got it. Bernie wanted a primary. Fuck all that shit. And Abrams wanted a primary. Fuck all that shit. And I'm saying to myself, did Abrams want to run? Probably not. But I could understand. And so the fact that they moved forward with Kamala, it caused turmoil between some Dems. Not everybody wasn't in it like they wanted to be in it. They were just feeling like, I'm forced to be in it. I'm not getting behind something everybody said. Now we just got to do this because she's the black woman and it's the best person to go against Trump. That's the feeling they had. Take me out of this shit. Don't care about my feelings. We got to talk about everybody. That's how they were feeling. So now imagine the momentum that Kamala had around her, internal fighting amongst her campaigners. Then you got the folks leading the Democratic Party just like, girl, let's just get this shit. Let's just do it. This is what was going on behind the scenes. This is what we didn't see. So let's talk about this primary campaign. If he had stepped aside after the midterms, as some aides urged him to do, the Democratic Party process could have played out in a primary campaign. Candidates' kinks could have been worked out or not. Almost certainly, whoever emerged as the nominee would have gone into the final weeks without so many Americans complaining they didn't know enough, as they said about Harris. Biden could have taken on a role as steward and elder statesman rather than a guy the Harris campaign never knew quite what to do with. Oh, they really, and there's something to be said about a primary that is conducted. Right? You learn about the candidates, you figure out which one resonates the best with the American people. They get to learn how to respond, the best way to respond, and you start building coalitions, right? Then you choose one, and then that everyone gets behind them. When you don't have a primary and you put someone there, it's sort of like when at your job, they take somebody out and put somebody in, it's going to take you some time to warm up to them. Like, okay, I get that. And then having to not know what to do with Biden. That was the biggest thing. She didn't want to go against Biden. She didn't want to say his stuff wasn't good. She didn't double down on saying that some of the policies he put in place we could have done better with, because she didn't want to make him look bad and make herself look bad, because then that would admit I'm part of the administration. But she did too much of, we're going to continue what Biden was doing. We're going to expound upon it. Well, the male voters sitting over there and the women voters, the ones, that decided that was definitely not a play. And she didn't want to take that. She didn't want to listen to that. That was some of the infighting going on. You had some folks saying, don't say that. And you had some folks saying, you know what, you need to just let them know that the difference will be this. She didn't want to do that. She didn't want to do that. Almost certainly. Oh, wait, no. So Harris Biden differences. Aides didn't wait until Harris was off the set to start trying to clean it up. Wait. Is this it? Oh, yeah. Sorry. A Democrat who had spoken with her told CNN at the time that she didn't want to name her differences with President Joe Biden. Now, remember that interview she did, and someone said, what were some of your what's the difference between you and Joe Biden? And during that interview, she said, well, let's talk about some of the strengths we have first. She completely changed that. And that was the moment where folks were like, so it's going to be a continuation of Biden's election. So, including a higher capital gains tax, a bigger child tax credit, and a tough border policy, because she thought it would look disloyal to the man who had picked her as his running mate and then stepped aside for her. Girl. By the time Harris got a clearer, sharper contrast answer out on the Biden question, the situation had congealed in ways she never got past, both among voters wavering in the center who wanted to hear her rebuff the president on his handling of the economy, and voters on the left who wanted to hear her more forcefully disavow Biden's support for Israel. And we just knew she wouldn't. We knew she wouldn't disavow anything that Biden did except for expound on it. And the reality was, the biggest reality is that a country crying out for change got a candidate who, at a crucial moment, as more voters were tuning in, decided to soft pedal the change she knew she represented. And that was the biggest problem. She started with a campaign where she inherited a group of people, or inherited a group of folks who didn't even want to support her that much. Then you got Democrats who are in the party, they didn't even want to support her that way. So you have all of this. What did we think was going to happen? And let's take out the fact that you got black men voting for Donald Trump. Fuck all of that shit. She didn't have enough people reaching those black men to support Donald Trump. Another thing, which I keep mentioning, Harris made a decision that simultaneously reflected her newfound confidence and her longstanding insecurity, solid with trusting her own instincts. She did not want anyone that could possibly outshine her. So that's why she went and chose Tim Walz. And that was the craziest thing. She was fine with going against her family and against the Obama orbit. Remember, both Obama and her family, they didn't want Tim Walz. And that's what we landed with. And it's interesting. It's so interesting, that point, because it's just, dang, but Obama couldn't even persuade her, y'all. Obama couldn't even persuade her. That's what I was looking at. I'm like, damn, she must have really, must have been something about this. But then when they said she didn't want anybody to outshine her, it totally made sense. It totally made sense. So real quick, I said it, but I want y'all to listen to this. This is them talking about the unorganization of Kamala's campaign.
I think this is the leftovers of the 2016 kind of mess, that there were all of these issues that the Democratic Party saw laid out very clearly in 2016 after Hillary Clinton's loss, and that rather than address those issues, they moved and they migrated. What happened is that the pandemic, right? The pandemic came upon us, and Joe Biden happened to be the person for the pandemic. And I think they mistook that moment for a referendum on what the Democrats had to offer, rather than being introspective. I'll tell you one other person who I think is going to be incredibly important, actually two other people. The first person is Bernie Sanders. One of the things that Bernie Sanders has been saying since at least 2014 has been about how the Democratic Party, if it wants to keep these coalitions, needs to talk about bread and butter issues. It needs to talk about politics. A lot of people attacked him for that, saying, well, are you saying that cultural politics don't matter? That's not what he was saying. He was saying we need to focus on these things. The other person is Stacey Abrams. We have not heard a lot from Stacey Abrams in this election cycle, but her organizations, particularly Fair Fight, the New Georgia Voter Project, and other organizations were instrumental in pulling together coalitions that ended up winning Joe Biden Georgia in 2020, but also Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin.
Not this time, though.
And there you have it. And both Bernie and Stacey Abrams, they were grassroots. They are grassroots type individuals. They are the ones who will do the building up and talking to the folks who are in the rural areas. And you didn't see them this election cycle. There was a lot of infighting. There was some indifferences going on especially between Bernie Sanders and Kamala Harris's campaign. Definitely. Absolutely. I didn't find too much about why Stacey and Kamala didn't really partner as much on this campaign, but one thing I did read was that she was definitely not for Waltz being the VP pick. So you had a lot of this strife going on behind the scenes, a very unorganized campaign. And I sort of wish now, 2020 looking back, we pushed for a primary. We really pushed for that fucking primary. Another thing that Kamala didn't want to do, and this was the thing that Trump did, she wanted to appeal to women so much, a little too much. And I'm not saying that women should not have been considered or neglected. What I'm saying is she should, the same amount of attention and energy and that enthusiasm she was putting in women's issues, there should have been a comparable set of energy or policies or thought put into issues that relate to men. And I'll take it one step further. There were, you know how Joe Rogan and all of these male podcasters and YouTubers, well, they were reaching out to Kamala to speak to her. And she didn't want to do that. She felt like that would deter too far from her messaging. So she stuck with those who she knew. Trump went on Joe Rogan and he touched, who did he tap? What audience did he tap? That white working class, so he could build that coalition. And so I was on Twitter and I saw this DJ VLAD. Now, you know, they do interviews all on YouTube, funny, weird interviews. His team reached out to her for an interview and they told him no. She also told Joe Rogan no. And this is important. This kind of stuff is important in the day and age where influencers are taking a bigger impact on society in general, where people are turning to influencers to touch their base. Do I think she should have done more besides Charlemagne the God? Yes. I think we should have found her in more places, but that too, you guys, was an internal strife. You had some folks who wanted her to be a traditional candidate, follow Biden. Then you had some, which would be like the Bernies, the Stacys, them Obamas, who wanted her to be more so out there, be out in the front, engage with audiences that you don't typically engage and talk to. Remember when it came to the black men not voting for Kamala? What did she do? She pushed Obama out there. We saw Obama at that point. We hadn't saw Obama as much as we had saw him. I said, look at Obama. I saw him walking. I think it was at a barbershop. So he walking past saying, "We need y'all now." I said, okay, I see it. And for the media, again, that works. But it was too late. Way too late. Way too late. She should have been in those places already, talking to them. And see, that all falls back to having people in your campaign listening, tracking, getting the data on the ground. And when you got everybody everywhere tracking differently, getting the data differently on the ground, and coming back to you with different messages and saying, no, you really need to talk to this audience about this, that's most important, you're missing all of that. And again, I don't feel like I'm playing the blame game. I'm talking about how the whole campaign sort of did not evolve to the campaign machine it could have been. It could have been a massive campaign machine. So she went too strong on women's issues. There's this educational divide in this country, which has become much more pronounced in terms of voting behavior. Now, y'all listen to this. Listen, I know it's words, but you got to listen. I'm going to read it for you, okay? Jeff Horwitz, who conducted this poll, he said this: yes, abortion is a really, really fundamental issue to the election. But when you're looking at particularly white women and white non-college educated women, inflation, cost of living, and other issues weaken her margin with those voters. Remember when I started the show and said, they ain't get no fucks about abortion? They didn't care about transgender issues. They wasn't thinking about that. Now you got folks down here who gonna stoke us and piss me off by saying, yeah, we aborting this and yeah, I get it. But when you pull that onion back, Trump wasn't talking to them about. Trump was telling them, look, this is what I'm gonna do with this, but I got you on immigration and the economy. I ain't saying nothing else about abortion. I said I'm gonna give it back to the states, and that's it. They took it and ran with, oh, I'm gonna fight, and turned it into a whole women's campaign, doubling down on it. What do you think it did to that margin of male voters? That margin of uneducated women who don't give a fuck about that, who really thinking about how can I make my ends meet? That's where we missed our mark while we joking about them. I had a whole video of the women up here, like, remember the lady I had up here talking? And that's a prime example. She was talking nothing about, she was talking about the economy. And I kept saying, well, black woman, how is that going to affect you? Talk about it in terms of your community. They don't give a fuck about that either. And that's the mark we miss. Sometimes you can be too high up. You need to come back down and say, okay, wait, what? So this is what you care about. And this is where we are. This is where we are. No energy, no youth. And another thing is Kamala couldn't energize enough youth to maintain in her campaign. Now, the grassroots operation, yeah, it took time for them to come along. But when she started this, it was not there. Again, she had to build all that up. By the time it got there, she had nothing like Obama had. Obama had a youth machine. To this day, no one has matched that. She couldn't pull that off. Rightfully so, especially if you're in-house fighting. They also say Harris is not a change agent. She didn't fit the mold of a change agent candidate. She stayed too loyal to Biden. As America made it clear they disapproved of his handling of inflation and migration at the southern border. And she didn't care about that. She didn't care about that at all. Now, one sticking point that we fucked up at was how we handled black men. Okay? I'm a black man, regardless of my sexual orientation or sexual status or whatever orientation. I'm a black man. And I'm a black man who understood what Kamala was saying to me. But there was also black men who also identified as Democrats who didn't understand a motherfucking thing that Kamala was saying, who was a part of that rural class in those outer layers of Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and Arizona, didn't understand a motherfucking thing she said. And also, we placed the blame on Trump and his voters. They don't like women. They hate women. They don't want to be with, they don't want to protect women's rights. We were doing that so much to them that we forgot to look at our own party and say, what about y'all? And we didn't know that until it was too late, until we saw the men cross over and vote for Donald Trump. I mean, you literally now have to look around and say, some of y'all, I know some of y'all saying y'all voted for Kamala. By the vote, I know you didn't. And it's very much so true. Because again, in 170 days, we spent so much time fighting Trump and his ideology and his voters. We didn't even look and say, okay, well, we're saying this about them, black men here. Then we sent Obama out. It's too fucking late. So listen to this, though. I thought this was very, very telling and very good. A very good message. Listen to this.
To say really quickly, too, Democrats need to be mature and they need to be honest. And they need to say, yes, there's misogyny. But it's not just misogyny from white men. Mm-hmm. It's misogyny from Hispanic men.
Right.
It's misogyny from black men. Things we've all been talking about, who do not want a woman leading them. Might be race issues with Hispanics. They don't want a black woman as president of the United States. You know, the Democratic Party, I've always found when you're sitting around talking, they love to just sort of balkanize everybody into these separate groups and say, oh, white people don't like women and black people. No, it is time for the Democrats to say, okay, and you and I have talked about this before. A lot of Hispanic voters have problems with black candidates.
Right.
A lot
and
of,
with other Hispanics. You've got some that don't like each other. And some of the most misogynist things I've heard going on this Get Out the Vote tour came from black men. I mean, misogynist things. So you're absolutely right. It's not simplistic. And we've got to have real
we got to have real conversations with each other, because there were and there are Democratic men who are still call themselves a Democrat, but because of some of the things that they don't stand for and do stand for, they voted for Donald Trump, which were things that we didn't even imagine. Sometimes it's best to consider what traditional and conservative values are we giving up to gain something, or which values are we attracting to lose something. And I don't think they looked at that or weighed their option at all. They missed the mark there. This was also something that I found very, very interesting. We talked about, I just told you about how the fact that the working class is we're in a different, nowadays the working class is so divided. You have the working class who is thriving, and then you have part of the working class who is making it. We're just saying making it. There's no discretionary income in their wallet. They're making it. Okay. And then you have some who are below poverty line. And so in that, so Democrats have been attracting only this one avenue and leaving this one avenue hanging. Listen to this.
You've actually worked in Republican circles. What is going wrong here on that front?
And I just think the Democrats right now have to just reckon with the fact that there's a fundamental brand problem with the party as far as not reaching like huge swaths of the country. Jim listed a couple of them with rural and Hispanics. But if you look at the exit polls, Trump gained with every demographic group except college-educated women. Everyone. Black men, Hispanic men and Hispanic women, non-college women. So it wasn't really even a race and gender thing in particular. It was widespread. And there's a brand issue. And to your reference about my kind of time at the Republican Party, I look back at 2012 when we lost with Romney, right? And afterwards, we did the autopsy and we looked at it and we're like, we need to fix this little thing or that little thing. And that might make the difference if we reached out to this group more or that group. The reality was that the Romney-Ryan party did not appeal to broad swaths of the country. It did not appeal to black and brown Americans. It also didn't really appeal that much to working class Americans. Obama cut into his margins there. That's where the Democrats are right now. They get so when you say communicate, yeah, but it's more like we got to figure out how to talk to them. It's not about like a talking points. Democrats have to think about how their brand is resonating outside of college-educated, urban and suburban, white.
Absolutely. It's a rebranding thing. It's a rebranding thing. And I said this, we have to talk, we have to sit down and have a conversation with these swaths of individuals and ask them, do you feel like the Democratic Party is too progressive? And in what ways? And then explain why the policies are being implemented, and come to some common ground, come to a conversation. We have 4 years to figure this shit the fuck out. We got 2 years till midterm elections to be able to put people in places so that we can figure this shit out and get on the right foot. And I actually do think the work needs to be done, because I don't think that people should be brainwashed to accept a president simply because the other alternative is not speaking to them. I think that for a Democratic candidate, how progressive we are. Yeah, I don't think there was enough energy put into helping Kamala really attract those folks, like really speak to them and really talk to them. Another thing, and I gotta say this shit, and I gotta be real about it. America has forgiven Donald Trump. Let me say it again. America has forgiven Donald Trump. 72 million Americans told us that. They forgiven Donald Trump. All that he be playing with the pussy and he steal this and do that and he ain't paying attention. They don't give a fuck. You know why? They forgave Donald Trump. So Democratic Party, when we got this next election, it's like all that shit got to go out the window. It got to go out the window. They have forgiven this man. I was reading this article and I'm going to share something with you all. Kamala Harris lost this election when she pivoted to focus almost exclusively on attacking Donald Trump. Voters already know everything there is about Trump, but they still wanted to know more about Harris' plans for the first hour, first day, first month, and first year of her administration. It was a colossal failure for her campaign to shine the spotlight on Trump more than on Harris's own ideas. And when you have a limited amount of time and you're in a competitive race like this, most people are going to tell you, attack the candidate, dig up dirt and attack the candidate, muddy their name, come after their character. But in the same light, you also should be talking about what makes you stand out. Why are you the different candidate? And not only stand out from Donald Trump, but what makes you stand out from the current administration? What is Kamala Harris going to do? What do you stand on? And I don't think a lot of people got that. I think for her, it was abortion. It was women's rights. She's going to be the one to protect women. Even I push so many different things out. Department of Education. She's going to help LGBTQ community. She's going to, help with the legalization of marijuana, which then will trickle down and help with the expungement process of so many other individuals. But she became the figure for women's rights in a moment in America where men have been feeling sort of ostracized. And now we can see how her campaign was sort of this swelling up. Uh-oh. Not that women's issues are less important. It's just that they're not the only issues that she as a president should have been focused on. Or she as a president should have been solely the candidate of choice for. Like, she should have had other things on her plate that people wanted to vote for her for, not just because Donald Trump was a hated man. Because as you can see, they forgave the man. That was eye-opening to me. I'm like, damn, you know what? They really did forgive him. Like, he really was forgiven. At the same time, polling consistently show Americans held fonder memories today of Trump's 4 years in office, particularly his leadership of the economy, than they did when he was in the White House. Did y'all hear that? So Americans now think he did a great job in office than when he was actually in office. That lets you know how they feel about Biden. And you don't want to separate from him? And I'm sure they had this data in front of them. I'm sure they had this information in front of him. But then you had these two different things working. She had some of the DNC, some of her party wanted her to be traditional, and some wanted her to be a little bit more progressive in her approach. And she's just trying to weather the storm because she got so many different people coming in to help her campaign. So listen to this.
Let's be honest about this, okay? Let's be absolutely blunt about it. There were appeals to racism in this campaign, and there is racial bias in this country, and there is sexism in this country. And anybody who thinks that that did not in any way impact on the outcome of this race is wrong.
Can you imagine a woman of color acting like Donald Trump acted, even for one day? The kinds of stuff that he said, the kinds of things that he did, the way that he would insult people. If you're a person of color, you don't feel you have that freedom. You feel like you really are somewhat constrained. You're always running something in the back of your mind like, how am I going to be perceived? And also, if I say this, will they think that all black people are this way or all women are this way? So there's a license that he had to just be a fool, just to be an obnoxious ass to everyone. And for people to go, well, he can still be president.
Absolutely. And that, again, that's what a lot of folks didn't see. We just was like, that's bad. He said this stuff. He did that. He's a bad man. Bad. They're not going to vote for him. Whole time. Child, I don't care. And like he said, had Kamala did that or pulled those antics, of course she'd be off the ticket. But Trump had 4 years where they forgave him and started looking to him to come back and lead. Because obviously what Biden wasn't doing, he wasn't forceful enough in a lot of different areas. And I'll say my own opinions of Biden for another day. So what's the interesting thing about this though is that as much as Kamala was lauded for being the candidate for abortion rights and protecting women's rights, that actually worked in Donald Trump's favor. It worked in his favor. And that's the lesson, I think, a big lesson that the Democratic Party got to accept with these candidates nowadays. So for Donald Trump, He chose to modulate his stance on abortion by declaring early on that each state should decide this matter for itself, and then doubling down by vowing to veto a national abortion ban. Many longtime foes of abortion were disappointed and some were outraged. Nevertheless, Trump paid no price, winning 81% of the white evangelical vote, virtually unchanged from 4 years ago. He didn't say he would put up a ban, an abortion ban. He'd leave it to the states. And that was just enough for the white evangelical vote to stay the same. Now, you got to remember, 4 years ago, they wanted a complete ban. They wanted a complete fucking ban. That's the stuff that she don't see. And so as she's out here speaking to what she do to protect, she's also not speaking to what she do to support. So Donald Trump offered a protection by saying, we'll leave it up to the states, but we're not going to do a national ban. Of course, there'll be some states that allow abortions to occur in their states. And then he also supported evangelicals by saying, I'm not going to ban it, but I'll leave it up to the states. So I'm sure the states that the evangelicals are in, they'll work hard during those races to make sure it's banned in those states. See, like there's some give and take, and folks don't feel like she gave and take when it came to abortion. It was her way or no way. Is that how I felt? No, I felt like there was some compromising going on. I more so felt like it was the woman's right. That's why she got my vote. I don't think that government should be I don't even feel like they should even be involved when it comes to those situations, but we're here. Transgender, same thing. It worked in his favor. The Trump campaign decided that Harris's stance on transgender issues was the Willie Horton of 2024 and invested heavily in negative advertising that dominated the airwaves throughout the South. Anecdotal evidence suggests that this campaign helped weaken Harris's effort to portray herself as a common sense center-left candidate rather than an emissary from San Francisco. Basically, by her coming out here and sort of in a manner, I don't want to say like sort of outshine, but coming out here so forcefully as the candidate that is going to be so progressive, it allowed Trump to show to the swath of men who care and women who care about those other issues. It allowed him to look as this more favorable candidate with common sense and a common sense approach. Another failure. And again, in 170 days, it's hard for her to be able to flip that. It's hard. It's hard. But these are the facts. So it worked in his favor. Most folks supported him because they felt like, hey, did I support him on that issue? Hell fucking no. No, I did not. I did not at all. And listen to this. This is very important because, see, progressive issues are very important because we're a modern society. We're always being progressive, productive, moving forward. However, you have conservative and traditional folks who still, they love their conservative ways. A lot of them are religious. And so you have this religious and progressive, and you have them battling. And so listen to this.
What went wrong with the Harris campaign?
Well, Jose, you and I have been on the air together quite a bit. And I have been saying for a long time that it always gets down to money and the economy.
You have.
I very much like what she had to say because she's listening. I suffered a tremendous defeat when I was first governor on a referendum. I mean, I got absolutely crushed. And that night, I remember saying to the media, they were right, I was wrong. We have to listen to what people have to say, and the economic challenges out there, plus the fact that I think the Democratic Party, that the tails wag the dog, the progressiveness. People don't want it. They want simple little things, and they don't want to have things shoved down their throat with change that happens too much. For example, the gender issue about boys playing, basketball with girls or whatever. People are like, I've had it with political correctness. I'm not doing well economically. That's what I want the focus to be, and I don't want all this other stuff. And I think Democrats, rather than getting into finger pointing and forming a,
there'll be time for that.
There'll be plenty of time for that. But they need to listen. What is it that the people have said? If you don't listen, you're going to lose.
And that's so true. And we find ourselves in a situation where there was not enough time for Kamala to be able to listen to America in a good fashion, where she can take data and say, hey, this is the bright, shiny issue, but this is the real issue. Transgender is a hot issue, and it's a very sensitive issue, right? But I think it's an issue that provokes division. And I feel like Trump you always throw out transgender or abortion to provoke a Democratic candidate like a Kamala to come out here and say, well, I am the one that will protect this and protect you, instead of not falling for the bait and continuing on with her campaign. I do feel like she allowed Donald Trump to really provoke her in these different areas. Not saying that transgender is not a hot issue and an issue that should be discussed, but I think she should discuss it on her own terms. I think it should never come at the defense of him saying something malicious or him doing something malicious, because it does come off as if you're trying to ultimately be everything to everyone. And it's nothing wrong with you having a response when it comes to transgender issues, but I definitely feel like he shouldn't be the reason why you have a response. I think it should be a part of your platform, and I don't think you should have to defend anything around that. Yes, you want the coalition of LGBTQ voters. Yes, you'll have them. However, I felt like he used this as a way to gain popularity with his own coalitions, and he did. And we got to pay attention to that, because the Republicans will do it again. They will do it again. It'll be another issue. What the dangle in front of our face. Well, they want to do this, and so we're going to do this, and then we'll come out. Well, I think we should also take the break on that. Pause. Consider. Is this really affecting the American people? Are they responding to them in a way that requires us to respond? We know Donald Trump is an ass. We know he's going to say some of the most malicious things. Does it require us to, the same thing I said about the Latino thing, when the comedian said it's a pile of garbage, and she was on automatically next day coming out of a Latino restaurant, talking to folks. Stop letting that man provoke you all to move. That makes it look like you're trying to be everything to everyone, because that's the progressive look that they see. Not that you can't be, but it's how you're doing it. And again, we're in political theater. You can't be everything to everyone. You're going to have some sore spots. You are, period. But it's just that every time he does something, it's a response here. Well, we're going to save you. Well, black men don't want to vote for Kamala. Well, here comes Obama. It's like, whoa, okay. And I get that now. As I'm looking back and understanding the dynamics of her campaign, I can say that now they definitely didn't have enough people with the wherewithal or expertise to sort of guide them through all of this. It was a lot of, well, I know because I worked for Obama. Well, I know because I was on Biden's campaign. Well, it's like, she didn't have her people. So I wanted to say that I'm going to share a video, but I want to run through real quick how these other countries have responded. China. We will continue to view and handle China-U.S. relations in accordance with the principles of mutual respect, peaceful coexistence, and cooperation for a win-win. We respect the choice of the American people and congratulate Mr. Trump. See, baby, everybody now tiptoe talking around it. You congratulate Mr. Trump, France. They did a tweet. Congratulations, President Donald Trump, ready to work together again. And then later, he issued another statement talking about he had concerns he and many of his European colleagues are likely to share about Trump's commitment to the transatlantic NATO. See, everybody running shit scared now. Now y'all scared? Girl, don't be scared. Don't be scared. Fred's worried about Trump coming over there and raising up them damn them taxes, the share that everybody got to pay in NATO, like he did before. Hamas said private matter. It's a private matter for the Americans. We look forward to an immediate cessation of the aggression against our people. They like y'all. Israeli. Of course he kissing that. I'm sorry. Your historic return to the White House offers a new beginning for America and a powerful recommitment to the great alliance between Israel and America. They want him back because, see, Netanyahu believes that Donald Trump is way more forceful than Biden. So he wanted this man to come back because he think he's going to come back and help him with this war against Russia, or at least call Russia up and say, look, what the fuck y'all doing? That's what he thinks. Mexico, child. Mexico was like, look, because he calling them up and giving them a 25% tariff. So President Claudia will say, we are a free, independent, sovereign country, and there will be good relations with the United States. Okay. She felt it was prudent to wait. For all Mexicans, there is no cause for concern for our countrymen and women, for their relatives who are here, for Mexican businesswomen and businessmen. There is no cause for concern. Child, Donald Trump got them out here. This is the president. This is our new president. This is how these countries feel about him. Here goes the UK. The UK Prime Minister did his best Wednesday, despite a clear delineation between his own policies and those expected of another Trump administration. He said they have a special friendship. Bitch, the UK is like, what? And of course, good old Russia. Russia said that Putin don't even want to give a motherfucking statement because of some shit that Trump said earlier this year. But they did say a chance for a more constructive approach to the Ukrainian conflict. Putin, there's no plans for Putin to congratulate Trump directly, saying the former U.S. leader had made quite harsh statements about Russia during the campaign and calling the U.S. an unfriendly. Thank you. That was so sweet of you. Thank you. Unfriendly country that is directly and indirectly involved in a war against our state. Baby, we have no illusions about the elected American president who is well known in Russia and the new composition of Congress, where the Republicans, according to preliminary data, are gaining the upper hand. The ruling political elite in the United States, regardless of party affiliation, adheres to anti-Russian attitudes and a line on containing Moscow. This line is not subject to fluctuations in the domestic political barometer in the United States. Baby, Russia basically said, look, I heard what you said. Now, if you want to help us with Ukraine and we'll do that. But all this aggression y'all got towards us, we ain't forgot. So that's going to be very interesting to watch the Russia and Russia and U.S. relations, how they either grow, they change. Palestine said, we hope to work with Trump for peace and security in the region, stressing the Palestinian people's commitment to the pursuit of freedom, self-determination. Basically blowing because they in trouble right now. So Ukraine, I recall our great meeting, blowing smoke up that hole. I recall our great meeting with President Trump back in September when we discussed in detail the Ukraine-U.S. strategic partnership, the victory plan, and ways to put an end to Russian aggression against Ukraine. I mean, damn. So we already know who's homeboys, Ukraine. Okay. So those are the countries, and that's how they feel. That's how I felt, sort of how this campaign went. And we all need to take away, America has forgiven Donald Trump. Okay. I even had to face that. America has forgiven Donald Trump. That's a hard reality. The male vote, black male vote, Latino male vote, the white male vote, it superseded all coalitions this election cycle. And that sent a message. We're not listening. Me, even as a black Democratic man, I'm not listening to their issues, to my fellow brother issues. out in the rural counties in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and Michigan, or not listening. And I would love to know, like, what is some of their concerns. And as I said, when you ask them the economy, I want a job, and you're like, well, so can you break that down? And that's the conversation I'd like to see begin to happen between Democrats and people in our party and other constituents. I think that's a hard lesson. Second, third, fourth, or fifth, wherever number I'm at, Kamala Harris had to face the burden, okay, of being put in a position where she inherited people from Biden, Obama, Hakeem Jeffries, Pelosi. Everyone came to shore up her campaign to make sure that she'd get there. And doing that not in a cohesive manner, not in a way that data will be connected across the states and battlegrounds so that it will be effective and efficient. And unfortunately, it blew up in everyone's faces. So she has that burden on her back because she was the elect. And I definitely feel bad for her. Absolutely. She was inspiring, engaging, energetic, enjoyed her smile and her laugh. I thought she would have been a great leader, not just because she's a Black woman, but because it sounded to me like she understood the issues of America. That's how I felt. Okay. But unfortunately, that was not the case. And as we peeled the layers back, she wasn't set up for that kind of success either. I got to call a spade a spade. For a presidential election, she was not set up for that. And there's a lot of people to blame, including herself, including, all the way up to the White House. And we got to swallow this pill. It's a hard pill to swallow, bitch, but we got to swallow it. All right. Put our boots on, bitch. Go put our helmets on and our vests, and let's get out here and do the work. We got 4 years to figure this shit out and have those motherfucking conversations, and do not pull Obama out when it's a Black time to talk to Black men. Don't pull Obama out when it's time to, don't do that. Because see, as good as that looked for the media, everybody see that. And what y'all start coming as, you look like you're for everybody. That progressive definition gets to creeping up on the Democratic Party. So we got to dial back, and we got to really think about it. Get our energy up, get our youthfulness back, get the timing right. We're gonna get a female president. We're gonna get a woman president, but we gotta do the work. Now we got 2 years till midterm elections to get the House together, to get the Senate together, to get governors together across the states. That's a time to fucking listen to the Latinos, the Asian Americans, Black Americans, the white Americans. It's time to listen. And don't be so quick to offer a plan. Sometimes people just want you to listen and say, oh, wow, I didn't know that. You might even have it. I do that shit at work. You might even know the solution. But sometimes people just want to know that you listen and you heard them. We be so quick to, well, Democratic Party, we don't do that, or we got this, or we're going to do that, or we're going to give this, and we're going to do that. It's like, did you even hear? And that's what this election told us. You're going to do all of this shit, but did you hear what the issues are? So that's where I find myself with this. I just wanted to talk about where we went wrong, what some of our failures were, and what we could do better. Now, I'm not no expert. I'm sure some stuff I could oil up and define even more. But that's some surface level shit. And finally, Trump. So here's the next thing for Trump. Okay. So now Trump's in office. Trump's in office, baby. He's going to be in office January 25th. And I told y'all, I am holding all these motherfuckers. I'm watching them. I might ask them too. Everybody, you got a job? Economy? What? Oh yeah, I'm tracking. I want to come back 4 years and tell y'all so, baby. I do. But here is a list of things that we're going to be expecting from another Trump candidacy, Trump administration. President Trump will be challenged to honor the sweeping promises he made during his campaign. It remains to be seen whether he can impose massive tariffs without raising costs for average families and triggering another round of inflation. Did you hear that? It remains to be seen because, you know, we're going to have the economy's going to, grocery prices going to go down. You're going to have money in your pocket. You can't do that if you're raising tariffs, but we want to see that. Also uncertain is whether he can quell conflict in Ukraine and the Middle East as quickly as he claims while reducing America's global commitments. And it is possible that trying to deport millions of immigrants present in the United States could blow up in his face by creating civil strife and a backlash among Latino voters who have rallied to this cause. Did you hear me? Now Roman want to see this. So Latinos, the Latino males, they wanted to vote. They got the man they wanted. Now it's his job to uphold those policies. And he said he's deporting illegal immigrants. He getting them the fuck up out of here. Now, that could do one or two things. That could either hurt him or harm him. And who gonna be here to see it? I'm gonna be right here. I just want to watch. I want to see how this works, how well this works. Because remember, it's always been all about the economy first. Okay? But we can't forget the other promises he's made to his swath of voters. Them jobs that y'all think the illegal immigrants got. If he fails to meet the hopes that he has aroused, especially in the new supporters who provided his majority, he and his party may pay a price in 2026 and beyond. And I wanted to leave with that note by saying, yeah, that's where we are. Now we're on the defense. Now we're the underdog. Now we get to watch. That's the attitude you adopt. Let them glow. Yeah, we got it. We in office. Great, wonderful. You're in office. Do the work. I'm here for it. Don't fuck with me, bitch. But I'm here. That's the attitude you walk away from this election. So it hurts us. Yeah, it hurts us. But you know what? We still finna do the work. We're gonna be here for the motherfucking work. Be proud of how far we actually came. You know, be proud that she wanted to be a candidate. Don't be upset about that at all. And this, I thought this was so crazy. Vanity Fair put this is their digital cover. 34 felony counts, 1 conviction, 2 cases pending, 2 impeachments, 6 bankruptcies, 4 more years. The 47th American president. Baby, if that's not a horrible picture. If that's not a horrible picture. Now I want to play this video before I end, and the reason I want to play it is because I thought it was very funny, and it's something about women talking to women. So it's the opinions and views expressed in this video are not from me. They're directly from the individual speaking, but I thought it was very funny. So y'all check this out, and y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. I appreciate y'all. I think America isn't ready for a woman president. You could be very much so right.
Okay, but I am rooting for the women who voted for Trump. I really am. I'm rooting for them. Okay, so this is my message directly to them. Okay, I hope, and I mean this, I hope that you get everything that you voted for. I'm going to take it a step further. I hope that everything you voted for affects you personally. Lower gas prices? I hope you get that, Queen. I really do. I also hope that you are not able to get that family you've always wanted because IVF is no longer available. I hope that you are in desperate and dire need of medical attention, but everywhere you go, no medical professional is willing to help you. I hope that as you fear for your life and are potentially dying, that you have nothing else to worry about but what will come of the children that you left behind in this world. I hope that after a traumatic pregnancy loss, that you are taken to court. And I hope that you are questioned by a bunch of people that you do not know to determine whether or not they think you terminated that pregnancy on purpose. I hope that you have to relive that pregnancy loss over and over and over again in that courtroom, and potentially in a jail cell, who knows. I hope that you cannot afford childcare. I hope that you have to give up every career aspiration you've ever had, every hobby, anything you've ever liked, and sacrifice it in order to stay home with your children. I hope that this takes such a toll on your family and your financial status, because living off of one income, if that, is already difficult enough, but you can't find any resources to help because you voted to end welfare. I hope that when your children come of school age, that you send them off to school and you do nothing but sit all day and wonder if they're ever going to come home. I hope they come home hungry, because like I said, you don't have a job. You send it off to do childcare because you can't afford childcare and you don't have welfare, and God knows you're not getting free school lunches. Okay? And I hope they come home and they treat you like dog shit. I really do. Because in school, one thing that they used to teach was empathy. Now that's some woke shit, so they don't do that anymore. You can't afford childcare and you don't have welfare, and God knows you're not getting free school lunches. Okay? And I hope they come home and they treat you like dog shit. I really do. Because in school, one thing that they used to teach was empathy. Now that's some woke shit, so they don't do that anymore, okay? And all they know from what you voted for, from what the school teaches, from what their dad says, from what anybody says, that no matter how different you think you are from other women in this country, at the end of the day, you are just a woman, okay? And women are not deserving of respect. You taught them that. You taught them that because you elected a sexist, racist, homophobic, rapist to office over a qualified woman. They saw that. They know. And they're not exactly smart because, once again, Department of Education out the window, okay? All they know is women dumb, mom woman, I hate that bitch, and they're going to treat you like dog shit, and I really hope they do. And after all that, you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, I can't do all this again. I can't go through no health care. I can't take care of another kid who's going to treat me like dog shit. I can't do this again. And I hope that your husband says no to you getting contraception because you voted to give him that right. I hope he says no. And I know this is a long video. People are not going to get to the end before they comment. That's fucked up. That is so messed up. How could you ever wish that on somebody? I agree. It's not something that I would normally wish on my worst enemy, but guess what? Not only did you wish that on all of your fellow American women, but you voted for someone who vowed to put those practices into action. And you made that choice for all of us. So yes, I hope you get exactly what you voted for. Because if someone told me, I hope you get exactly what you voted for, I'd be like, thanks, queen. I know, because it would make the world a better place. So if you are offended by that, maybe rethink who the fuck you voted for. And I'll end it with this. My last hope for you, my last wish, okay?
I said, baby,
For.
she's snapping.
Because if someone told me, I hope you get exactly what you voted for, I'd be like, thanks, queen. I know, because it would make the world a better place. So if you are offended by that, maybe rethink who the fuck you voted for. And I'll end it with this. My last hope for you, my last wish, okay, is that if you are ever sexually assaulted, okay, I hope that you scream from the rooftops who did it and what they did to you. I hope that you tell everyone you've ever loved, everyone you've ever cared about, everyone that you ever thought respected you as a person. And I want those screams to fall on deaf ears. And I want those same people who you told and thought respected you to take this man and lift him up to the highest position of power over you. And when you cry, and when you ask why, and when you wonder why they would do such a thing, I want them to look you dead in the eyes, and say, well, he promised we might get cheaper gas prices. I wish that for you. I wish all of that for you. Happy day for you. Victory!
Victory! I wish all of that. I wish all of that for you. I was like, if I said it, it'd be an issue. So let me just go on and take this girl and let you say it to the rest. That was hilarious. Listen, on a lighter note, we're past the elections now. Let's move on. We did our civic duty. We voted. I know a lot of people going to chastise you. I know a lot of people going to be saying shit. Oh, fucking well. Let them move on. You can tell the educated fools from the uneducated fools easily. So don't let none of that trigger you at all. She did come out. Harris conceded the election. She came out and she gave a powerful word. And I'm gonna end the show on her final word. And I want to say thank you. I hope y'all hit the like button. Shout out to the chat. I appreciate y'all so much for rocking on this kind of commentary. Thank you, QI and Zap and Ghetto View and Toby. I appreciate y'all so much. I really do. Miss Queenie, look at you. Y'all in the building. OG Beauty, thank you. Thank y'all. This election cycle has been very stressful for a lot of us. Take the time what you need to feel your feelings. Okay. I was irritable on Monday. On Tuesday, the day of elections, when I did my election watch party, I was very irritable. And I told you, I said, I don't know what today, why. And now I know why. My intuition be on 10. I was very irritable. I was in that polling place like, if any bitch say something to me, if you say something to me, it is going to be a problem. Bitch, I don't know who none of y'all voting for. I'm looking at all of y'all. That's where my attitude was coming from because I knew what was going on. I knew what time it was. All these bitches, I voted for Kamala. Got me side. I'm walking my dog side-eye. You know, your ass probably voted for Kamala. I love grown-up commentary. Thank you. Hey, Leo. Leo. I'm getting excited about this charcuterie board challenge on December 14th. Leo's channel. I'm getting so excited. I put my ideas out too soon because then I started seeing who all on there. I'm like, oh wait, I got some heavy competitors. So I'm excited. Y'all have a great day. Y'all listen to this message and let it resonate with you. Don't give up the fight. I said that in my post on Monday, on Tuesday or Wednesday. Don't give up the fight. Still have that flame burning in you. Still have that flame. You still have to check bitches still. So don't give it up. The world ain't ending. You're not dying. They're not going to take your money away from you right now. They ain't going to do none of that stuff. Just be vigilant. Be very vigilant and be woke. What you got to say? Carry yourself out.
To the young people who are watching, it is... I love you guys. To the young people who are watching, it is okay to feel sad and disappointed, but please know it's going to be okay. On the campaign, I would often say, when we fight, we win. But here's the thing. Sometimes the fight takes a while. That doesn't mean we won't win. The important thing is don't ever give up. Don't ever stop trying to make the world a better place. You have power. And don't you ever listen when anyone tells you something is impossible because it has never been done before. You have the capacity to do extraordinary good in the world. And so to everyone who is watching, do not despair. This is not a time to throw up our hands. This is a time to roll up our sleeves. This is a time to organize, to mobilize, and to stay engaged.
Good morning. Thank you for being here this morning.
Let's go. Ow, let's start this show. King Roman News gonna come right through We're gonna give you that news just like you know we can do. Hot topics in your face, baby. King Roman knows his place, baby. King Roman news.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
6:30 a.m. Eastern time, baby. He's gonna come right on time with the news just for you. Celebrity news, politics, and local news just for you. King Roman news. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Let's go. Hey, let's start this show. King Roman news, coming just for you. King Roman news, coming just for you. 6:30 a.m. Eastern time, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. King Roman news, King Roman news. Let's go.